Hello, my name is Jerry Tachoir. In addition to my performances around the world, I also present clinics and master classes. I receive numerous questions, some original, but most are reoccurring interests. I decided to start this series called Ask Jerry Tachoir. I'm going to answer, to the best of my ability, some of these questions as well as new inquiries that I get via email most every day. If you wish to ask a question, simply go to my website at www.tachoir, it's spelled Tachoir.com, and click on the Contacts tab. There you simply enter your name and email and ask your question in the subject field. Okay, so my first question comes from Kari in Helsinki, Finland. Hello, Mr. Tachoir. I'm a big fan. I first saw you perform at the North Sea Jazz Festival in Holland several years ago. I am very impressed with both your musicality and amazing technique. Thanks, Kari, I appreciate that. My question is, I noticed that you seem to always play and hold 4 mallets. Is there ever a time you would just use 2, and if so, why? This is a fantastic question in that I have to give a little bit of a history. I first started out as a drummer, a snare drum where you hold 1 stick in each hand, and my teacher then got me into mallets. So naturally I took 1 mallet in each hand and I learned my scales, my arpeggios, and how to read music, and got real good at it. Till one day he brought in a piece of music that had 3 notes on it. In other words, a chord. I'm like, how do I do this? Well, he gave me another mallet. He said, well, put this in your left hand and just play the notes. So it took me a while then to get comfortable with holding 3 mallets. It was a little strange at first, but after a couple weeks it got where it felt good, so I played with 3 mallets. And then one week, going back to another lesson, he gave me another piece of music that had 4 notes in it. So I said, wow, how do I do this? So he gave me another mallet. So I'm holding 4 mallets. And again, there was that learning curve. I had to start all over again and try to get comfortable with holding 4 mallets and manipulating them. And again, after a couple weeks, it got to where, wow, this made sense and this worked very well. So for the longest time, that's how I played. I played holding 4 mallets. Now, when I started out, it made sense to me, coming from the drumming world where you're playing match gripping, that I used the inside mallets predominantly to play my single lines while holding 4. And then if I needed chords, I would just do that and go back to my single line playing. When I went to Berklee College of Music and studied with Gary Burton, he told me what he uses is his number 3 mallet and his top number 1 mallet to play predominantly his single lines, and then the other mallets will fill in with chord tones or tensions or whatever other note he needs. And I asked him, well, why would you do that? And his comment was that, well, most of the melodies occur up here, and he uses his right hand number 1 mallet to pretty much play those most of the time. Occasionally his left hand will come up and assist, but then everything else is free then to play chord tones and tensions, as I said earlier. So this made sense to me. Now, in a contemporary world that we live in today, you're expected to be a 4 mallet player. Throughout history, there have been a lot of vibraphone players who actually played 4 mallets. They would play chords. They'd play chord voicings and they would accompany somebody. And then when it was their time to solo, they would always set down 2 mallets, and then they would play their solos with single lines. And then when they're finished and ready to play chords again, they would have to stop and regrip. And that kind of didn't make sense to me. I also noticed that when my wife, who's a piano player, when she would have students come in, the first day that you sit down for a piano lesson, and I took some piano lessons myself, but the first day it's 10 fingers on 88 notes from first day. You don't spend 2 years of your life developing an index finger and a thumb, and then once you get good, the teacher says, well, let's add this finger. No, it's everything that's available to you. And to me, 4 mallets just makes sense because it's always available to me. If I need a chord, if I can play linear lines, I can just go ahead and do it. And it also helps out with arpeggios. In other words, if I need a big, huge, I mean, it's just a matter of just flicking the wrists and getting there. Whereas if I did it with a single 2 mallets, it would be a lot of motion. And so it just made sense to me to always hold 4. I do it for xylophone parts, I do it for little glockenspiel parts, marimba, vibraphone, anything. I always hold 4. I never set down 2 and go with just 2. This has become the expectation for me. It's become the way I play. As a matter of fact, if I would set down 2, it would feel unbalanced. It would feel awkward, like something is really missing. So the 4 mallets, the more you play it, the more it becomes part of your arsenal and something that you could use for everything on all the instruments. And there would really be no need to just drop 2 and play 2 and then pick up 4 later on. It just makes sense to hold 4 all the time. So that's my answer, and I hope that helps you. Thanks a lot.